More has been revealed about Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition. Wizkid Miniatures has 3 new paint night kits coming this summer, and the new Aeldari Codex is lying to you. This and more in this week's Hobby News. I'm Angela, you're watching Hobby Night, now let's get to it.
The house on the hill sits abandoned, shrouded in mystery, harboring dark and deadly secrets. Fearless explorers have always been drawn to the house. Stories of horror, chilling hauntings, and terrifying encounters will scare even the bravest amongst you. Your journey inside will become a life or death battle, a nightmarish struggle of betrayal and survival. Let the haunt begin. Prepare to enter the world of Betrayal at House on the Hill, 3rd edition. Each game of this horror-themed adventure finds you exploring a haunted house, while discovering and conquering its dark and deadly secrets. Choose your chilling story from 5 different starting scenarios, and begin to explore the house with up to 6 players. There are 12 characters to choose from, with 6 premium game pieces. The house builds around you as you explore, making every game different from the last. Try to survive as dangers lurk around every corner. Discover items to help you in your exploration. Encounter events that can help or hinder your progress. But watch out. When you find an omen, you could trigger the haunt. You arrive as friends, but someone will betray you. Will you be the one to succumb to the secrets of the House on the Hill? With 50 unique life and death mysteries and multiple play modes, you could fend for yourself, team up to take on the traitor, or band together to defeat the horrors of the house. It will take strategy and courage to escape the House on the Hill. Use your secrets of survival and take down the traitor before you meet your demise. Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition features 50 unique mysteries, premium components, and more. You will have to watch your back if you wish to conquer the horrors and survive the betrayal at House on the Hill. Start your mystery.
We have more information about Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition. It is coming out August 1st worldwide, just before Gen Con, which is fantastic. It's right before my birthday as well. Might be a nice little gift to myself. But if you're in Europe, you actually get a premiere release of it, which is coming out in April, which I'm very jealous of. I wish I was getting that. I kind of want to play it immediately because there's some exciting news about it. So, it's going to retail for about $55.99 USD or your regional equivalent, but really what has me excited is the mechanics and some of the new components. Let's start by talking about the mechanics. There are 50 new haunts in this game, some of which are going to be sequels to some of the fan favorites from the previous editions, which is very cool. I have no actual idea which ones they're going to be. My guess at minimum is that there might be one tied to the Mummy storyline, because I feel like that one is often talked about by the fans, so I really can't wait to see what actually has sequels and what is actually brand new. But the new way that they're actually dividing up these haunts is really cool and is going to, I think, affect how sequels come out to this game later on. Now they're divided into 5 different scenarios, which actually gives you a reason to go to the house with your friends. Previously, in the old editions of the game, the sort of commonly accepted reason for why all the sort of odd mix of characters all ended up at that house together was because they were like a church group or something, because there's always a priest with them, and it always just seemed sort of weird. You never really knew why you were going there, but now these scenarios sort of set it up for you. You might be mysteriously invited, you might have been cursed and just sent there, or perhaps you're paranormal investigators and that is your jam. You just really want to explore haunted houses. Regardless of which scenario you actually end up picking, all the haunts that are tied to them should be sort of similar, and it will help players actually if they have favorites, like if they like a particular theme that brings them to the house, they can continue to just use those scenarios rather than playing with the ones that maybe they're less interested in. I think it's a really good system and it allows them to expand it, which they do have plans for. They're trying to treat this new edition of the game as a game system rather than a standalone box, and I actually really like that. That makes me think that they're planning on doing something a little bit more like what Fantasy Flight does with Mansions of Madness. And what I'm hoping from Avalon Hill in regards to this, when we get expansions, is not just new scenarios and haunts to play with, but I also want new miniatures, new tiles, actually things to add further to the game. Now, speaking of some of those tiles and miniatures, the miniatures are now unpainted, which makes me really happy because it means I can paint them myself. They are also now heroic scale, which means you can use them in other things. That is very fantastic, and honestly, the sculpts look delightful. Plus, the tiles are looking gorgeous. They're bright, colorful, but still have that proper eerie, haunted moodiness that I think the game needs. But the nice thing about them being bright and clearer is that they're very readable. You still get all the proper information that you need to play the game, but you're still seeing a lot of really cool detail in the art that just add to the theme and atmosphere of the game. Overall, everything that I've seen of the game so far, which has not been a huge amount other than some pictures, has been looking stunning, and I hope to see the game in person, maybe sometime soon. I'm so jealous, like I said, of the people that are in Europe that might get to see the game early, but at least I'll get it in August. You know what's something I really like doing? I like painting miniatures. Did you know that Wizkid has been for like 2 years making paint night kits that you can take home and use to paint up your own miniatures and give yourself a small little project to work on? Well, they do, and they're actually pretty cool. I've done a few of them myself. You can even find tutorials on the channel featuring some of them, but I want to talk about some of the new ones that are coming this summer. They recently announced that in May, we're going to be getting a Hellwasp, which looks hella rad. I am so interested in this one. It happens to be a purple and red design that they did on the painted example of this product, and it just speaks to me so much. I really, really like it. It kind of is like a weird mix of the nether and like my favorite colors, as well as I like, okay, so Beedrill is one of my favorite original Pokemon, oddly enough, and I just really like bees, even though they terrify me in real life. So I'm very interested in this Hellwasp. The other one that's coming out in June, the month after, is going to be an Oni. This one is less exciting to me, but it's still a pretty cool sculpt. Now, if you've never used any of these paint night kits from Wizkid before, you get 12 paints in them from Vallejo, 2 brushes, the miniature, and then even a tray in there that functions as a palette and water cup, I believe, that way you can like do this on the go and out and about and everything, which is perfect for if you happen to be doing this at your friendly local game store, which is where I find my kits mostly. I tend to go to Games at Berkeley. They have a once a month paint night event where they actually use these kits. I think there's a Chimera coming up, which is really cool, but I'm hoping that they get these ones in because I definitely want that Hellwasp. The other thing that I really hope my FLGS gets in is the Drider from their Frameworks line. Now, if you remember, last year we talked about the Frameworks collection coming out from Wizkid, and it's their on-sprue models. Well, they have a paint night kit that's coming out with one of them. It is the Drider. It looks super rad. It's actually one of the models I was most interested in picking up, and I will be honest, I forgot these models were coming out at the end of last year. For some reason, I thought they were like February of this year, but they've been out for a while. I just haven't seen them around, haven't picked one up, but this Drider is one that I'm hoping to grab. Moving on to some Games Workshop news. Well, I'm sure all of you have seen the Aeldari cover. It is lovely, with one exception. The Autarch on it is not actually a legal model. You can't actually run that model with those wings, with those weapons, which is a real shame because it's false advertising on GW's part. It's gonna be hella confusing for any new player that might come in, look at that cover, go, dang, that looks really cool. I wanna make and build that. And then they open up the book, find out that they can't, and they've invested a bunch of money in it. I hope that doesn't happen to a lot of people. I hope they either address this by making the Autarch usable with those weapons with wings, or that they maybe, I don't expect them to actually update the cover because they've already released it and a bunch of people have already gotten it, so that seems very unlikely and very cost ineffective. But it's a shame that this happened. I really hope they address it and change it. We'll see what goes on. It's that time of the video where I interrupt to tell you about my Patreon and to let you know that we just added a Discord server which all tiers get access to. So if you're wanting a way to chat with me, share with me your projects, or just tell me what board games you're playing, definitely make sure to check the link below and check out my Patreon.
And who in Sigma's glorious name, are you?
A passing hero who thought you looked like you needed help.
I am in no mood for jests.
I'm Hamilcar.
Hamilcar?
Yes. Hamilcar, Bear Eater.
I have one other thing that I want to complain about from Games Workshop, and that is Warhammer Plus. Recently on Warhammer Community, they announced that the second episode to Expedite, their new Tau series, has been delayed. They said it would be delayed for several days, and I believe this was on March 2nd. And as far as I'm aware, the episode still hasn't released, and it's been many more days since several. Now, this is a little bit of a shame, and I do hope that they get it out as soon as possible. And they've made some promises in the article discussing this, saying that, hey, I know this has happened and we're really sorry about it. Things are outside of our control, which I get that. That is not what I'm complaining about. It's more just that, like, they keep lying about timelines and everything and what they're promising to give us, which is why we're talking about this thing in the first place, because they've now promised to do exactly what they did the first time they announced Warhammer Plus and give us content for Lore Masters, the Citadel Master Series Color, the Citadel Color Master Series class, as well as their battle reports, new episodes each week. Now, it's great that they're saying this. This is what they said before. I still don't expect it to actually happen because they haven't said when it's going to happen, just that it's coming soon, and that they also hope to add additional content with our feedback to the program. I just don't see this happening. Everything that has gone down with Warhammer Plus so far has felt incredibly lackluster, and like it really shouldn't be behind a paywall, if I'm honest. Most of the content on the app is something that I would just expect to see on a YouTube channel for free. But of course, they're not going to do that. They had to lock it behind a paywall, and frankly, they're not producing nearly enough content, even if they increased it like they say they will, to merit, I think, the cost and what you're actually getting. This is a huge shame to me because I really wanted Warhammer Plus to do better, and there's a chance that maybe it still will. Maybe if they really push themselves and get a bunch of new shows out, that would just make it feel more worthwhile. But as it stands right now, I really would not suggest it if you haven't already picked it up. The only reason I'm still subscribed is because I want that gosh darn mini, because I paid for it and I'm gonna get it.
We bought a year subscription, that's why.
Exactly, that's why we have it, and I just want that mini to show up. You know how I really like the Underworlds kits? Well, I've completely skipped the last one that came out in, I think, January, which was the Buccaneers, because honestly, the pirates weren't my favorite thing, and all of the cute animals, while they were cute, just didn't quite do it for me. However, the set that's coming out next has me much more interested, and we got a preview of the Exiled Undead. We have one zombie that we've gotten to take a look at who has a like Frankenstein on gigantic arm from another creature, and I'm loving the look of it. It reminds me of my Necromantic Horrors, which are the team that I'm running in my Blood Bowl League, and so I'm hoping that maybe with this Underworlds kit, I can fashion some of the models in that into my Blood Bowl team. That's one of the reasons I'm so hyped about this. I can't wait to see more in what they reveal. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. I'd love to know your thoughts about Warhammer Plus. I know a lot of you were really not interested in it to begin with, and I'm sure that even with these updates, you probably still aren't. Plus, the Aeldari Codex, what's up with that? There's just so much weirdness happening with GW right now. Let's talk about it down in the comments below. In the meantime, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for allowing content like this to continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we wouldn't be doing this, so thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for just watching this episode in the first place. That is also incredibly helpful, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. In the meantime, I've been Angela, you're watching Hobby Night, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!